Hi, dear language learners. So you're all motivated, you're all set for the new year. You have your objectives there, you know what you want to achieve, you know you want to get fluent in your next language. You're highly motivated, you're all fired up, you know, this time it's going to be working out. You also know about the benefits. You've seen the video about the health benefits, about how it opens up a new level of identity, a new level of self-awareness, self-consciousness. You know that it actually boosts your brain health. So you know this time it will work. But then something else happens in your life, and then life just gets in the way. Something else is more urgent, and slowly, over the weeks and months, the motivation drops and it just doesn't happen. And I say this, dear viewers, because I've been there many times in the past. And if you've watched my previous videos, I have now been learning language over the past decades, and I was able to crack the code in terms of using my own profession. So I'm a social psychologist, using the fundamental laws of social psychology to totally optimize the way in which we can learn in a brain and socially, psychologically friendly way, and make this process an enjoyable one, a brain friendly one, and also one that creates fantastic connections that boost your life. So I want to share this with you because motivation and objectives are not enough. This is what I learned. And I'm passionate about sharing this with you, dear viewers, that might be learning another language and kind of being at this point, okay, now I'm going to do it. But then if it doesn't happen, you kind of get frustrated. And I want to spare you that frustration because there is a better way. So, what I'm going to share in the next 10 minutes with you are the three magic ingredients that help you bring that motivation on the road, so to speak, to actually operationalize that motivation that you have. Because motivation alone doesn't lead anywhere, it doesn't actually make it happen. So, you need more than just motivation and objectives. That's the message of this video. And before we dive in, it's still my birthday month. And as you know from last video, I'm doing a special promo. Not only have I reduced the price of my book, The 7 Steps to Fluency, on my website, I have reduced it to a totally symbolic mini price. So get your copy now. But also, you can win a free copy if you guess my age right. So all you need to do, drop a wild guess in a comment on this video. And if it's right, I send you a free copy. So that's my little birthday celebration offer of this month. But now, let's start. Number one of what I call the magic ingredients of actually helping you succeed in the long run and helping you upgrade your learning routine is you need a calendar where you apply the time boxing technique. Time boxing technique means you need to put, like an appointment with a dentist, you need to put really committed appointments with yourself into your calendar, set a reminder, set an alarm if you wish, so that you are actually totally accountable to yourself that you will do it. And as you have probably also seen in my previous videos, I'm convinced this works if your time box that you create in the calendar, so your appointment, your weekly or daily appointment that you will set, if it fits your schedule and also if it's the smallest size possible. If you've watched my video on how to overcome procrastination, you need to be truly self-honest with yourself. Self-honest with yourself, yeah, great expression. Some of you might know me by now. This is the typical thing I would say. Anyway, so what you need to do is you can actually say to yourself, okay, this is a trick you can use. It will only be 2 minutes. I will only study for 5 minutes, or I will only revise that situation for 5 minutes. That will get you started. And believe you me, over the past decade, since I used time boxing with myself, I have become more self-respectful as well because I tended to have that experience. Drop me a comment if it is the same with you. Whenever I had appointments with other people, I was very committed, very on time, very prepared. But whenever it came to realize my own objectives and to actually be committed to being there on time for myself, then it was just actually I put it in a to-do list, and to-do lists don't work, right? To-do lists we can always postpone. But if you have a committed time box with yourself, this will hold you committed in the long run. And if it's the smallest size possible, it will feel easy, and it will be your appointment with yourself to have some fun with the new language, right? And please hang on in there as well. My next video is going to be how I actually at the moment use AI, artificial intelligence, to learn Italian. As you know, my fifth language will be Italian. I'm on an A1, A2 beginners level, and I want to show you how I actually do that with the techniques I show in my videos. Okay, so that was number one, the calendar. Now, number two, and that is a very important social psychological one, which is you need to have an intention. Our brain studies better by having a motivation and an intention for your real life to say and communicate something. Our brain memorizes the best when it recognizes patterns of meaning. And this means you need to have an intention what you want to say. I give you an example. Whenever I revise sentences and archetype phrases, I first of all ask myself, okay, in my next situation with ChatGPT or a native speaker, what do I want to say? It's like in real life. Only if you want to say something, you will kind of imagine and practice how you present yourself, how you communicate that. So I have this week coming up a dear meeting with a colleague from 20 years ago that I will meet, and he happens to be a native Italian speaker. Of course, I will use that situation of actually practicing my A1, A2 beginners level Italian, and how I will do that I will share in the next video, but also what it does preparing for that intentional, meaningful meeting. Another one, meaningful meeting, you know what I mean. It actually creates meaning for my it creates meaning for my brain. I'm trying my best not to have these fantastic expressions today, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm sure you will understand. So it creates meaning, and that makes my brain memorize so much quicker. So another example, for example, you will have a situation where you need to reserve a hotel, a train ticket, a flight ticket in your new language. Well, practice for that. What would you typically say? Imagine yourself in that situation and then practice archetype sentences. Practice at least every time a sentence that will give you the structure or the patterns for, I didn't understand, can you repeat please? Because the most frequent question is that I get from my students is always, okay, I have practiced, but then I don't understand the answers. Yes, you don't understand the answers, but you can ask and you can say, you have a sentence ready. Oh, I didn't understand. Can you say it slower because I'm still learning the language? And then they will realize that. And of course, people will be compassionate with you and will talk slower. Of course, there are exceptions. If you have people who will not talk slower, well, that's the exception. Let's hope that. So that's number two. Please stop trying to learn or study without intention. You always need to have an intention in what you want to communicate. And number three, and that's the third magic ingredient to upgrade your learning routine that you actually really need in terms of keeping your motivation and your objectives going in the long run, is you need to figure out your personal technique to block off your mind, to kind of focus and to keep away for at least that time box that you have reserved with yourself, keep away all the other distractions of life, because life is always more urgent. Life is more important. Life is this, is that. If you happen to be, in a situation where you have a very busy schedule, where you have a very busy job, where you have so many things going on, a family, there will always be something that is more important. And then you get to the point, and that's also a frequent syndrome I see in my students, where you say, well, I'm so motivated, but I just can't find the time. My life is so busy. I've been there, I've been there myself, and I just force myself to include the constant learning in my daily routine. And if it's just 1 minute reading a sentence on, I don't know which social media you consume, just do it 1 minute. That's even better than nothing. So this technique to block your mind off, I give you an example out of my own life. I'm not saying it's the best, but it works for me. So drop me a comment. What are mind blocking or focus techniques for yourself? For me, it's definitely music. I even have a focus music channel. It's at youtube.com, the @ and then Blue Reindeer. This focus music channel actually has music that is designed in such a way that it creates an ambiance, an environment where you can focus on one thing. It helps you go into flow mode. And this is what I need personally, to focus at least 5 minutes on one thing. Well, ideally, it's more than just 5 minutes. That's my ambition. But if I also have to be honest with myself, I also have a very busy life. So 5 minutes are good if I achieve that. So I use focus music to block my mind off and to say, okay, all the other worries now for 5 minutes go away. And this level of consciousness, of self-respect, helps you to focus on one thing at a time. And this is what we need if we want to study and learn. So I'm really looking forward to getting your comments on what you use to kind of have that level of consciousness, of not believing that negative self-talk, that you're just too tired, that you're just too busy, that you just can't do it, to just block your mind off from that and to focus and be positive about that you now found the time to learn. Drop me a comment. And as always, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Also, you can read me. I have a blog on Medium, or you can always visit my website, dralexsteinberg.gumroad.com. I have fantastic resources from my own experiences using social psychology to be more successful. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and see you in the next video.